Hello, 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 and hello again, viewers. Nice to know that you're here, ready to listen to what we have for you today. It is exciting to know we have a beautiful day in front of us and we have to make use of it in a positive way. So thank you very much for joining, for liking, commenting, sharing. Thank you for always being here to support in every way. And you know, of course, that this channel is about creating awareness. We talk about health, we talk about career, education, and so many things that affect our lives individually and collectively. Today, we have with us the bosses, the executives, the ones who say, university students, go home. We're not we're not working today because of so and so. We have issues with government. And so the Asuu bosses are, well, I have a few of them here today who are going to be throwing more light, because when you read the news about the Asuu strike, there's so many things going on. Different people giving different opinions, different information. Of recent, I read, oh, Asuu strike will be off soon. And then other people saying, no, it's not true. Asuu strike is still on. And so many confusing messages. But here we are, opportune to have with us the boss himself. Well, I'll say the boss, one of the bosses, because there are in different chapters of the country nationally. So he is, we have two of them. We're so fortunate. We have Dr. Dele Ashiru, Asuu chairman at the University of Lagos. And we're also going to have with us Dr. Adebayo Oni, the Asuu chairman, immediate past chairman of the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. So hopefully we will get justice to all of those burning questions in our hearts about Asuu strike. Why Asuu strike? What is Asuu strike? Who are these Asuu strike people? How is it that they're so powerful to shut down universities in our country? All right. But here I would the good thing also is that I will show you, we have questions from different people around I think around the world, should I say, because it's anonymous, but we have questions from around the globe asking what exactly is happening. So without further ado, without wasting our time here, I know time is so precious to every one of us. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and do the needful so that we can have a full discussion and ask all our questions. So it's all about questions and answers. And I introduce to you Dr. Dele Ashiru. Thank you very much for honoring this invitation.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here and to shed some light on the burning issues about Asuu.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. So can you introduce yourself properly? I mean, who are you when it comes to the Asuu circle?
Well, Dele Ashiru is my name. I am the chairman of Asuu at the University of Lagos branch of the Union, and a member of the National Executive Council of Asuu.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So what is your discipline? What do you lecture? What's your department, faculty? Just for the sake of people who think, is this not Dr. Ashiru? They want to know if actually it's you. I know you've got a face cap on, and I might be thinking maybe it's not the one, or maybe it's the one. Let's see.
You want me to remove it?
Nice. No. I like it that way. It's just we want to know if it's actually the one and only.
I am in the Faculty of Social Sciences and specifically political science at the University of Lagos. So I teach the politics of power.
Okay.
So,
That makes sense now. That makes sense.
yeah.
I think I can start putting the puzzles together. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're the ones teaching us the politics of different things. Thank you. Okay, so our first question actually is, what exactly is ASU strike and why is there ASU well, what is strike? Is it necessary? What is ASU strike? For those who are listening from around the world who are thinking, well, what exactly is ASU strike? Maybe they're in different countries and they're wondering, what are you talking about today? Because we have an international audience.
Well, thank you very much. Well, ASU strike, like any industrial action, is a boycott, you know, of work when there's a disagreement between the employee and the employer. In this particular instance, maybe I should just go down memory lane to tell us why the strike is necessary. In 2009, in line with international best practices and the principles of collective bargaining, which goes on between the employer and the employee, our union had an agreement with the federal government. Contained in that agreement is a clause that either government or our union could call for a review of that agreement every 3 years. It is disheartening to tell my audience today that government has deliberately refused to review that agreement since 2009. And that has a lot of implication, not only for those who work in the university system, but even for the survival of the university system. And that will now take me into what is in that agreement that makes it so contentious. That agreement has 4 cardinal principles. The first is the condition of service of those who work in the universities in Nigeria. The second is what we call funding for revitalization of public universities. The third is university autonomy and academic freedom. And the fourth pillar of that agreement is other matters that has to do with the first 3 that I have enumerated. Now, let me quickly break all of those pillars down and its implication for the university system. Conditions of service. Because government has deliberately refused to renegotiate that agreement signed in 2009, one of the implications is that university teachers in Nigeria have been receiving the same salaries in the last 13 years. By that, one may want to ask, how much was a naira to a dollar in 2009? How much was a bag of rice in Nigeria in 2009, and how much is it today? So that first implication. The second is that because of the very poor conditions of service, it is becoming increasingly difficult to recruit people into the university system to take over from people like us. I mean, we can't be university teachers forever. And if we were not encouraged to come into the system, certainly we will not be university teachers today. So today, if you take a survey amongst our students, only about 2% of those who are in the university system will show a little interest in coming back to teach in the university. That portends a danger for the future of the university system in Nigeria. Now, when we talk about funding for revitalization, what we are simply saying is that government should improve teaching and learning aids in the universities. I teach in the University of Lagos, and I can tell you that the same classroom built more than 20 years ago to accommodate only about 40 people is where over 400 students are today receiving lectures. It is our conviction that no serious learning can go on in an atmosphere that, is not conducive for learning. And in 2012, when we drew government's attention to this situation, our union and government set up what was called the needs assessment of federal universities. And the two parties agreed that in order to arrest the decay, there is the need to inject funds, into the university system. Most of our strikes have been to draw government's attention to the need to arrest that decay. And I can tell you that, but for those strikes, there probably will be nothing called public university system in Nigeria anymore, because government is just unwilling, to contribute to the education of its citizens. And it has become more worrisome because government is now saying that only those who can pay for university education should have access to it. This our union disagrees with, because our union feels that, resources, funding should not be what we deny intelligent and brilliant students from accessing university education. So on that score, we disagree with the federal government. The third pillar is university autonomy. And there's no government in Nigeria that have done so much to violate university autonomy than this current government. And they did that by the introduction of the IPPIS scheme. By IPPIS, it means that no university vice chancellor can unilaterally engage, faculty members into the university. You may not believe it. Today in Nigeria, if you have to recruit anybody into the university system, you have to take permission from the head of the civil service of the federation. And our union had argued that there's nowhere in the world where universities are treated like ministries, departments, or agencies of government. So these are, in a nutshell, the reasons why, we have to go on strike, to compel the federal government to understand that in any serious society, the state government must take the education of its citizens very seriously. And if you look at the world over today, societies that are making progress are those whose investment in education is commensurate, with the aspirations which they have for their respective societies. Here in Nigeria, government is much more interested in some other things than in the education of its citizens. And the desire actually is to destroy public universities so that private ones will thrive, like they have done in primary and secondary education sectors in Nigeria. So these are the reasons, some of the reasons why we must continue to hold government accountable so that we can still have public universities in Nigeria.
So I was talking without my mic on. Thank you very much for that, sir. So you've talked about three pillars: condition of service. What was the second one? I know the third one is
funding
autonomy.
for revitalization.
Oh, funding. Okay. For revitalization.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now you said this has been happening since 2009.
Yes,
I mean,
please.
the agreements since 2009. But there's a question.
Yes.
Does it mean that right from 2009, I know there have been so many strikes called off, pulled off, and all that, and then people come back in. Does it mean it's still the same? Is it the same demand? So from the inception of Asuu, has the government ever met any of the demands? If yes, what are they? And if no, is it still the same thing we're talking about today?
Yeah, it is actually difficult to say whether government has met any of the demands, because if they have, these strikes will be unnecessary. They have met, government has been tokenist
Okay.
in the implementation of the agreement. If we go on strike, take for example, in 2020, we were on strike for about 9 months, and government promised that they were going to renegotiate the agreement, pay the agreed sum, for revitalization, and pay some emoluments that are being owed to university teachers in Nigeria. I can tell you that none of those promises were met until we started this strike in 2022. And now we have started with another round of what they call Memorandum of Understanding or Memorandum of Action. Between 2009 and today, we have had a series of Memorandum of Understanding which never worked. We also have started with Memorandum of Action, which means that government will do X at date Y. As I speak with you, government is still in breach of the implementation of those pillars of the agreement. We got government to commence renegotiation of the 2009 agreement in 2021. That renegotiation was concluded under Professor Musa Ali Jubril led government team. Since May 2021 till date, government has refused to look at that document until we commenced another strike. So it seems that the only language Nigerian government understands to come to a table to discuss, with the intelligentsia in the society is strike. And that's why it appears that, the strikes have been recurring, over the years. We only hope that if the ongoing talks, are faithfully adhered to by government, maybe that will signal, the end of strikes in Nigerian universities.
So if the government doesn't, I'm just wondering. So does it mean that if the government, I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, but if the government doesn't respond positively, the strike continues, and then the lives of children are jeopardized?
It's not only the life of children that are jeopardized. My own life is also being jeopardized. And you may want to ask me why. Look, our career advancement had been stalled since we commenced the strike. Our ongoing researches in our laboratories and all that had been stalled. Our salaries have been stopped. Some of our colleagues who require a higher degree, to move to the next stage in their career are stopped. Our children are also in the universities. They are at home with us. So it's not as if we don't also share, from, the pains of going on strike. But we also understand that we don't have any other option than to go on strike. Because if we don't, majority of those students that you talk about will have no university to come back to. If we leave government in an irresponsible state the way they are carrying on. So the strikes are just necessary to make sure that, temporary disruption, but they will have a university to come back to. The other option is to stop the struggle and leave them to the fate of these Shylock hawks in government who have established private universities and they are looking for patronage. And what that will mean is that only those who can pay will have access to university education. We cannot allow that to happen given Nigeria's level of development. So it's not about students, it's about our society. It's about the Nigerian university system, and it's about making it sustainable. To abdicate this historic responsibility is to shut the door to majority of those students you are talking about. Those students, none of their parents can pay ₦1,000,000 that is being proposed per semester to come to the university. So it's a little pain for them to have university education. The other option is to refuse to struggle and shut the door against them permanently. And I think that that's not a better option for either Nigeria or Nigerians who have children in the universities.
Wow. Okay. I'm just wondering. It looks like a hanging shadow over every government that comes in, because this government comes in. We're talking about 2009 agreement now, and that's how many years ago? So
13.
One government comes in, the other one goes out. What is it that the other the government from 2009, what did they do to stop you, Asuu, from striking until now? Because now we have another government that is actually packing its baggages already, going away soon. And in February, I think there's another government going to come in. I don't know if we're talking to the right people, because people you're negotiating with now will be packing away. So what happens? It means it's going to continue forever, or are we leaving it
No,
to...
you see, it's not going to continue forever. It's continuing because Nigerians are not ready to hold their government accountable. The very day Nigerians resolve that we will hold government accountable, they will take education more seriously. You see, what is happening is purely ideological. And that's why whether it is this government or the other government, it really doesn't matter. And our agreement is with the Nigerian state, with the Nigerian government. It's not with individuals. The debt that this current government is paying, are they the one who borrowed the money? They are not the ones, but they must be responsible for, actions taken, assets and liability on behalf of government. So our agreement is with the Nigerian government, it's not with individuals. But let me tell you why it appears that government is just not interested, or government is unwilling to accede to our demands. You see, we run a private pseudo-capitalist system. There's nobody who is in government in Nigeria today who doesn't own a private university, either wholly or in conjunction with their friends and cronies. The man who started licensing private university, General Olusegun Obasanjo, has the Bells University. His vice president, Atiku Abubakar, has American one thing university in Adamawa State. Their friends and cronies are busy as we are on strike. They have only recently licensed 13 universities. So the expectation was that the private universities will soon outcompete the public ones. But when they started establishing universities, they realized that running universities is not a tea party, and it's unlike primary and secondary school. They couldn't meet up, because you will expect that lecturers in private universities will earn more money than those of us in the public. But the reverse is the case. They cannot pay. So now they must ensure that the public universities are destroyed so that they can get patronage in their own university. That's one. Number two is that they want to make sure that education is for only those who can pay. Look, the only leveler in a society is university education. Irrespective of the primary school that you went to, irrespective of the secondary school that you went to, the last gate to society is the university. Now, they want to make sure that children of the poor, people like us who are today creating problems for them, don't get further university education. And that's why they are doing all that they can to ensure that only their children and the children of those who are milking the society, who are stealing money and can send their children to universities in Ukraine, in London, in America, are the ones who have access to university education. And our union is saying that given Nigeria's level of development, we still require a large capacity of human resources to be able to develop our society. And consequently, you cannot use money as a yardstick for accessing university education. So those are the issues. They really don't want, Nigerians, poor children of the masses in Nigeria, to receive university education. And IMF and World Bank told us right from the 80s that what we need is vocational education. We don't need university education. And whoever wants to have university education should pay for it. Our union will continue to insist that education is a right guaranteed by the Nigerian Constitution, and will continue to hold government accountable and responsible to educating its own citizens.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know when we say government, well, you're the ones in political science anyway, you know what you're talking about. But I'm just thinking, negotiating with this person, they go away, and then you have to start the negotiation again, and you agree to different terms, and before so it keeps going forever and ever. Anyway, I hope I hope you all meet get your demands met by the government. Somebody says, Onyelwakemi says, we are actually dealing with an insensitive government. Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you very much for your comments. So we're saying the government is insensitive, and the understanding is that the reason why they're insensitive is because the ones who can make that decision to turn things around are actually not concerned, and they're busy maybe making private universities for their own self or whatever. It's from what I've heard from you. And well, I know that could be really heartbreaking, especially for the upcoming generation. I know when two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers. So my question now is that someone has asked on the on Slido, on the anonymous question, saying the time the students have lost in this strike, what do you think will become of the educational rating around the world?
Why are we bothered about educational rating? What is the rating of Nigeria across the world as a country? Can the education system be insulated from the society itself? We are saying that we have an irresponsible government. What do you expect an irresponsible government to produce? But for the strikes, nobody will even be talking about university education in Nigeria anymore. So we should look at the bigger picture and not about look, in Nigeria in the last 20 years, we have been paying for darkness. And the citizens are carrying on. The citizens are carrying on as if they are unconcerned. There are no roads in Nigeria. Kidnapping, banditry, etc. Look, governance has collapsed in Nigeria.
Okay, that's I guess the internet the internet has cut our guests off. Okay, so we will wait for him to reconnect. Oh, thank God he's reconnecting. Oh, thank you, you reconnected. So that's part of what you're talking about.
That's part of what I'm talking about. Where else in the world would you be on a program like this and then the network and I'm paying? So you can understand. So what is it about global rate? We are nowhere. And that's why everybody in Nigeria must put hands together to have responsible people who have shame. Those who lead us don't have shame. The president has a clinic, they call Asuu Clinic. There is the National Hospital in Abuja, where the wife of the president told us that they budgeted several millions for those clinic and hospital. There's no syringe there. So it's not, what is happening is not only in the education sector. So what we need to do is to let all of us put our hands on deck to ensure that we don't continue to indulge the people who say they want to rule over us.
Oh yeah, you're on now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes,
I'm with you.
Yeah. So you were talking about what the public needs to. Well, my question is, what can the public do to support the plea of Asuu for the sake of the next generation?
Thank you very much.
Hands on deck.
As we speak, electioneering is going on in Nigeria for who will become president, governor, and all that. They should ask them for their blueprint on education. They should go on the streets demanding for accountability and proper funding of education. No society can rise above the level of its educational development. And unless Nigeria begins to ask questions about each political party's blueprint for the development of Nigeria, and of course, when they go to vote, they should look for the party or whoever says is going to support education, in Nigeria. When Nigeria took its education sector very seriously, Nigeria made progress. We all know what is the situation in Nigeria today. So they must continue to ask questions. They must play activist role, in politics and in ensuring that only people with ideas and only people who are concerned about the next generation get to public office. We overindulge our leaders here, unlike every other society where they are making progress. So Nigerians should become more activists in their engagement with their government at the local government level, at the state level, and at the national level. And of course, they should ensure that they ask questions about their plans for education, especially tertiary education in Nigeria.
Wow, thank you. So you're encouraging the public now to ask questions, voting people with ideas, become more activists with their engagement with the government rather than just I don't want to say things that because if I mention the phrase now, people will like, oh, you're talking about this person. So yeah, viewers out there, you can see, having a government that is sensitive, like Dr. Oni says, voting in government who is sensitive to the needs of the people would go a long way to solve this Asuu strike once and for all. So thank you very much, sir. There is
and to quickly respond to the question about two elephants. There are no two elephants.
Okay.
There are no two elephants. We only have a monster, which is the Nigerian government, writing rough shots on every other person in the society. If we are two elephants, we won't be in the same boat 13 years after signing an agreement. If we're also an elephant, two elephants, we started strike, they stopped our salary. 4 months now, we have not been paid. So where is the elephant there? We only have one monster, which is the Nigerian state, and is dealing the way it cares or the way it chooses with the Nigerian people, including our students, parents, and teachers. So it's not a case of two elephants. It's just a case of a misguided monster who is riding rough shots on the entire fabric of the society.
I can imagine how painful and it is, especially to those who have not been paid and are struggling and fighting for the next generation. Thank you very much, sir, for your time and for giving us an audience. There's one question here about someone saying, oh, the strike will soon be over, that's days ago, and someone says no, it's not going to be over. So hearing from you, what exactly is the situation now?
You see, the man that says the strike will be over is a Confucianist, and that is the minister, the so-called Minister of Labor and Unproductivity, Minister of Unemployment. Now, we have a Minister of Labor who presides over the highest figure of unemployed people in the world. And he's not bothered about refocusing his ministry, to get Nigerian youth meaningfully engaged. He was the one who created the problem that we are having now. And even went online to tell a lie that he invited us to a meeting, which he never did. And he has not even been part of the ongoing negotiation, only for him to sleep and wake up and started feeding people with lies. The truth of the matter is that our union and the government negotiating team are talking, and they are making appreciable progress.
Okay.
We have a draft agreement, and where we are is that usually in the principles of collective bargaining, when there's a draft agreement, the two agents, the two negotiating agents, will take the documents, the draft document, back to their principals. In this case, the government team will take the draft document to government. The representatives of our union will bring the document to us. As for us, we have seen the document, we are satisfied. We are only waiting for government to either agree to the draft document or disagree. And if it disagrees, indicate, areas of disagreement and basis for the disagreement. And then we can go back to the negotiating table to fine-tune areas of disagreement. As I'm speaking with you, we are still waiting for government to fulfill its own part of the bargain by bringing back, the draft document or signing it, as the case may be. Once that is done, it will serve as basis for our union to reconsider its present situation. But for a minister of unproductivity to go on air, in fact, the minister is fast becoming a jester, because nobody seems to want to take him seriously anymore. So the truth of the matter is that the talks have reached advanced stage. We are only waiting for government to tell us its impression of the draft document, and then we can put a closure to it.
Thank you very much. So a summary of what has been said. Before I go on to the summary of what has been said so far, is sorry we're still trying to get okay, there's a comment here before I talk about that comment. We're still trying to get Dr. Oni on the screen. Like Dr. Ashiru says, we're praying for darkness, or praying for darkness rather than light. So I guess he has prayed for no internet connectivity. And so yeah, we're trying to get him on as well to give his own add his own voice to what we're saying today. And thank you to viewers who are listening, to those who are contributing, who are making comments. Thank you for liking and commenting on this, because this is our time to hear from I don't want to say the host, the host himself, but it's
that's how it is said.
Because I don't want to use, when I use elephant, you said no, it's not an elephant, it's a monster. So I want to be politically correct in what I say, because I'm sat here with the boss of politics. Okay. Political scientist. All right. Amechi Chinedum says continued dependence on government for funds is not sustainable. What is your idea on that?
I don't agree. I do not agree. It is the responsibility of government to educate its citizens. Educating citizens is not dependence. And no amount should be too much for any government to spend on the education of its citizens. What is dependence on? As I speak with you, students are already paying in the universities. You may say what they are paying may be adequate or inadequate. That's another debate. But the position of our union is, if government cuts wastages in government, there will be enough resources to educate citizens. In Germany, education is free. In Finland, education is free. As I speak with you, PhD students are being trained. Nigerian PhD students are trained in South Africa free. And what is more, the budget of the National Assembly is ×3 education budget in Nigeria. We have only 360 something people in the National Assembly, as against about 4 million Nigerian students. So it just tells you the mindset of the people that are ruling us. Look, if somebody is talking about dependence, INEC is dependent on government, and they furnish us with, very incredible election, and several billions of naira pumped into INEC to conduct election that less than 1 million people would participate in. The last election in Ekiti, the governor who won with less than 200,000 votes in a state of more than 4 million people. So if people don't have ideas about how universities are run, they should not continue to support government to peddle, illogic. There's no dependence on government. Government must be responsible. Government must train its citizens. Government must educate its citizens. And in any case, it's enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution that the government will train Nigerians from primary to university level. So if government is not fulfilling that part of the bargain, Nigerians should not continue to say that continued dependence. What is dependence on? And why must we not depend on government? So on who should we depend on? On individuals?
Okay, thank you for that.
Wastages that government can cut, they should cut the cost of governance. Nigerian legislators are the highest paid in the world. They should turn it to part-time for only serious-minded people. The last presidential form, 100 million, and you will see public servants paying 100 million for form. Somebody who is buying a form for 100 million, is it 100 million that he has in his bank account?
Okay, before you continue, so thank you very much for sharing this time with us. I wanted to just say to people who are watching and are thinking, oh, I want to ask a question, but I can't put it in words. I have a lot to say to Dr. Ashiru. I want to say something, especially maybe the person who just wrote continued dependence on government is it sustainable? Maybe you want to say it in a different way. You want to ask another question. Please jump online, jump on to the StreamYard. I've sent the link already and it's there on the screen. So please jump on and add your voice to what we are hearing today. I like the way you're talking so passionately, and then you paint it up at the end of the day with a smile. that says a lot. That says a lot. You're not angry with individuals, you're angry with the government, and you're still making us feel comfortable. Okay, this Mr. Mechi Chinedum has said something else. It says, I suggest that dependence should not only be on government. We should think internal by my fellow comrade. Okay, if you want to jump on the screen, Mr. or I'm not sure if it's a man or woman now, Amechi Chinedum, you can just click on that link.
The research grants we get is mostly from outside Nigeria. To do research in Nigerian university, you will be looking up to Carnegie, to Ford, to other universities outside. What is the Nigerian government doing? You see, what I have realized over the years is that we indulge our government too much. Then we make excuses. When government cannot do it, now let's try and do it for ourselves. No. In places where life is more abundant, people hold government accountable. Look at the United States of America under Trump. The people didn't allow him to run that society aground. That is responsible citizenry. And they were not making excuses for him. We should stop making excuses for our government. Look, Nigeria recently gave Afghanistan $1 million. That should be invested in education in Nigeria. So the issue is not about universities are not meant to be revenue generating agencies. They are supposed to be research centers thinking about societal development. And all efforts have come to naught. There are researches, groundbreaking researches, lying fallow in Nigerian universities because of government irresponsibility.
Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. You've jumped in, so I guess we have a full house. You are on. Yes. I'm trying to. Yeah. So you're on Amechi Nedum. You just you want to give us an idea of what you mean by dependence on government only is not sustainable. Over to you.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is this. My fellow comrade, I greet. I'm
You're
aware.
welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate the fact that what you are saying. You can say I call you my fellow comrade, so I want to talk further, identify my identity. You understand? Okay.
Okay.
It's paining everybody. Yes, this morning I've just been thinking, what do I do? This is 4 months now, and the government is not moving. We have been doing this for over 20 years, back and front. And the truth is, if we do this over a time, I look as if this same government are not forthcoming. Because the issues you are raising are uphill tax. You are not just asking for the education, you are asking for better governance all around. You're not just asking for better education, you're asking for a better leadership, better system that is working. So the thing is, we need to now start thinking. Yes, our government seems to have failed us from obviously whatever you're saying. But now, how can we make it work? I was just telling somebody that if you are left as HOD now and no money in your department, won't you survive? And the person told me, yes, I will find how to survive. The same way too. We should just gradually. I'm not saying the government, as far as the government invested, they will, they should, they're expected to fund the university. But now, can we start thinking, how can we make this? Because now it's dulling us. There are some grants you look for out. They ask you which school are you from, and you're wondering you've been at home for how many years. If they give you the grant, will you work? So they just it's not helping us as researchers. So we now start thinking, how do we make this work? How do we make this work outside the government who have failed us? I'm not pointing blame at us, comrade. But my concern is now, how do we make this work? Because it's not looking as if that what we have set our life to do in the university, the government is frustrating us. We have to find a way around it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We should chase government away. Don't find way around it. Chase them away and put responsible people there. If you cannot postpone the evil day, no amount of self-help can save a society. A society must liberate itself. Look at the American War of Liberation. United Kingdom, look at how the people are playing activist role in the governance of their society. Nigerians should refuse to make excuses for government. If they cannot, we should chase them away and ensure that only responsible people will find their way to governance. We cannot continue to indulge. Then what do we have? What do we need government for? If they can't provide road, they can't provide electricity, they can't provide the health sector, they connive with multinational corporations to cheat us. So what do we then? We cannot abdicate our responsibility. We must continue to challenge irresponsibility in government and hold them accountable. There can be no middle course.
Okay, I've got two questions here. 1 minute. Dr. Florence Jimo says the government and other big organizations should think of funding research. And then she
Yeah,
says,
yeah,
what
exactly.
self-help will you suggest, Mr. Amici? What kind of self-help will you suggest? Your mic is, yeah, okay.
Yes, my mic is on now. Okay. I was telling somebody, the person is currently the HOD department. I told her that look, if you are left to run your department without any form from the vice chancellor, from the government, what will you do? The person just said, I was thinking what the students will suffer it. That was the immediate response. Okay, now I start thinking, okay, our Department of Agriculture, can we see how can we be major suppliers of agricultural need? Look at say Gary in our community.
Yes.
I'm just thinking outside the box. Again, I'm just thinking outside the box. We can do this. We can do this. Okay, can I say, okay,
Yeah.
every of my students who are just doing projects every session, even master students, even PhD students, can I tell them, look, this your project is dependent on my survivor? When I start thinking of ideas that are sellable, not just passing and graduating, I'm not. I'm just shaking my head, my thoughts. Do you get it? I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that we are leaving. We should leave the government. The government has to bear the brunt. Do you get me? It's unfortunate this is a public space. We can't just start exposing ourselves. But my point I'm just thinking is, how can we just make things? How can we just make things better than the way it is? Now, even if after the government funding, you know, what's the quality of education we're giving out? Mike, I sometimes I feel that you just spend time with
See,
students, you teach, you teach.
the quality of our education is high and
It
it's
is,
good.
it is. I'm not
Look,
doubting it. I'm not
I
doubting it. No,
left.
I'm not
I
belittling it.
was in the
My
UK,
concern is okay, sir.
and check out any Nigerian student from here. Once they get out of Nigeria, they excel.
Yes, you are very
The
right. You
quality
are
is
very right.
good.
You are very
The
right.
quality
Because
is high.
yes, you are
And
very right.
let me just chip in. Uh, in 2012, when we had the strike, as part of the processes leading to the resolution of the crisis, we suggested to government that look, all the experts are in the Nigerian university system. Now, give consultancy assignments
Yes, yes,
to those
yes,
departments,
yes.
saddle them with, naughty
Targets.
social issues,
Mm,
and let them provide solution.
mm. And we can.
Since that time till now, government they would rather give contracts to their cronies who cannot do it. Look, when we used to have tanker congestion in and around Apapa Port, our colleagues here at the University of Lagos developed an app that can help resolve the trailer gridlock around the Apapa Port, and took it to government that look, you've been asking for solution. This is an innovative, seamless solution to the gridlock in Apapa. It's only if they will come back for the app tomorrow. And you can't go there and deploy it yourself. You can even be arrested. In this university, a woman in ophthalmologist department started developing eye drop from bitter cola. She needed money through either pharmaceutical company or through government to expand the research base, patent it, and begin to sell, which is efficacious. Nobody came to her aid. The woman had patented the medicine outside Nigeria now, and she's selling it already.
Wow.
In Unilag during COVID, we developed a ventilator here in this university, which we made public. COVID has gone. Nobody's talking about those things now. In Unilag, we have developed an electric car, which our vice chancellor is using to do roadshow up and down here. Is that the way they do elsewhere? Shouldn't they invest money in it and begin, to mass produce and provide revenue for the university system? So we are conscious of the fact that universities can generate ideas, generate innovative, creative ideas. But it's not what individuals can do. The government, businesses, by government policies and regulation, must also support these universities to be able to expand these things and turn them into social utilities. When researchers are lying fallow in your laboratories and in your university shelves, how do they transform into revenue? So we are saying that those who rule Nigeria are not patriotic. They don't love the country. You know, there are younger boys here who are beginning to develop robots here in Unilag. But where is the support? Where is the funding? Is that the way it is in other societies? So beyond money, government must also support universities with policies that will encourage innovative thinking, creative researches, socially tailored researches that government will receive and blow it up. Look, you develop anything in Nigeria, you don't have light to even power it. So what is it that you are talking about?
Okay. Before we go on further, Dr. Adebayoni is trying to get in, but
in the last 1 hour, in the last 1 hour, you can see. Let's take it from there.
How much research can he do with such network?
Yeah, can you see it?
So,
The world has left us behind.
So I'll be playing his audio. I'll be playing his audio just for us to listen. I hope it's loud enough. He has generously sent a message. He's still trying to log in.
Well, good afternoon to everyone in the house. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to come on board due to a network challenge. Let me thank and appreciate Dr. Bumiebe for this invitation to talk about the ongoing Asuu strike in Nigerian public universities. Let me also join my co-presenter in the house, the ebullient Dr. Dele Ashiru, for the good presentation that you have made.
Thank you.
As you may be aware, and just like my colleague in the house has said, the current Asuu strike is arising from the failure of the federal government to honor the various agreements and the memorandum of understanding, memorandum of actions that were reached by the Academic Staff Union of Universities in Nigeria. But to say that currently all public universities in Nigeria are closed due to the irresponsibility and insensitivity of the Nigerian government and the Nigerian ruling class. Very clearly, the basis of this disagreement has to do with the failure of the federal government to honor the agreement that was signed with our union. This agreement has to do with the aspect of university autonomy, which has to do with the governance of our university system, and the aspect that has to do with the conditions of service of the lecturers in the public universities. Very clearly, it is very unfortunate that we have a government that is out to destroy public education in Nigeria. And it is the responsibility of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Asuu, to ensure that every Nigerian child is educated and is given free and unrestricted access to university education in Nigeria. Currently, the public primary school has collapsed and has been destroyed. The public secondary school in Nigeria has also been destroyed. And so, the responsibility of Asuu and the current struggle is to ensure that government funds the public universities. Government continues to establish universities which they are not ready to fund. And therefore, that has given rise to the dismal performance, especially when it comes to world ranking of Nigerian universities in the global competitive market of the education sector. Let me say that this is not the first time that the Academic Staff Union will be going on strike, and we expect that government should do the needful by properly fund the public universities. As we are speaking, the annual budgetary allocation to education in Nigeria, to the education sector, is less than 8%, where UNESCO recommended a minimum of 26% of the annual budget of the country to be dedicated to education. So we are dealing with rogues who call themselves leaders and who do not want an average Nigerian child to be educated. And this is what has led to the current strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we've just heard from Dr. Oni about, a summary of why the strike is still on. A comment here from Olawale Aromolaron says, TED Fund should set apart budget to midwife innovative ideas into marketable products. What is TED Fund? For those who are wondering.
TED Fund, see, this is even a very good point. TED Fund is an acronym for Tertiary Education Trust Fund. Tertiary Education Trust Fund, which is a product of our strike, the brainchild of our union. When we told government that, look, there's the need to fund education appropriately. We are conscious that there's no free meal anywhere in the world. Somebody has to pay. We then suggested to government that they can take 2% from the profit of those who do businesses in Nigeria to fund education. And that has been on. It started as Education Trust Fund. The best infrastructure and the best teaching aids in any Nigerian university today is the one sponsored by TED Fund. But you see, TED Fund is just an intervention agency. It cannot take the place of government. Government should put its own down. Nigerian people, through TED Fund, are already contributing to the education of Nigerian citizens. What we are saying is that the cost of governance in Nigeria should be reduced. A few unproductive elements cannot be taking the larger part of the pie. They should free the pie to service education in Nigeria. No society can rise above its own level of educational development. So, TED Fund are done well, is the brainchild of our union, product of our strike, proudly so. Go around any Nigerian university, whether state or federal. The best infrastructure, the best teaching aids, the best laboratory equipment were the ones procured through TED Fund.
Okay. So TED Fund is still working. Is that what we're saying? They're still working, but
yes.
And for those who are trying to understand what that means water don't pass Gary.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. All right. So thank you very much for this, and I think we'll call it a wrap. Are there any last words, or maybe Mr. Amechi, Mr. Chineke,
Yes.
has there been ideas bubbling in your head? You're thinking, oh, if only I could say this. Is there anything last thing you want to say, representing the public, representing parents, representing people who have no voice? Is there anything you want to say?
What
And
I
thank you
want
very much
to,
for coming online, actually.
yes, thank God. What I want to bring in or chip in is I just want to say as we should not use a hammer to kill a fly on a man's head. Yes, over time, over years, we've been hitting this matter. ASU has been hitting this matter, and there've been some level of change. There've full effect of the strike on parents, on students, on even the staff. somebody once said, "It's not a lot of hungry here." So that's my point I'm making is, we just need to. I just no idea. I've not got. There's no one point directing. Okay, this is what we should do. But my point is, we should not use a hammer to kill a fly on a man's head, so that the person will not think is more than the fly. The student will think it's more than just we're trying something get them better. But if we hit it so much, they think it's the head of the students, their future, their life you are killing. So that's what I really want to chip in. It's a myriad of challenge, and the government is not helping. That's the summary. The government is not helping. The government is not helping. And my prayer is that moving to this next election, we will all come out and be deliberate to raise leaders that will bring this change. Then even ASU will be strategic. The union will be strategic. Some of their members are coming out. They get to be strategic so that in the near 10 years, we will continue like this. ASU members will be their opportunity to go into politics. Would you continue this way? The change we want to see, can we see it come out as our members in ASU and in all these in the unions, our opportunity to be in political office and leadership? Can we bring out that change also too? Then also too, I think that's what most I'll say. That's what I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Ashiru,
Can I
if I
quickly say
ask,
something?
okay, go ahead.
How can ASU member go into politics?
There are some that are opportunity to go into politics.
100 million.
Our current vice president was a former ASU member.
It's
We
not,
have former ASU members.
What
We have former
has
ASU members
been
presently in the House of Assembly.
let me
We have in the 107. No, we should not go there. We should not come in. How can they? We already have them there.
You made your point. Let me make mine. Now, you just made a very fantastic example. Professor Yemi Oshibajo was a lecturer here at the University of Lagos. Have you heard him made any pronouncement concerning ASU strike? There's none.
I haven't. My ears are itching to hear it.
Isn't that a betrayal,
very big one.
Of his primary constituency?
Yes, it's a big betrayal. We are ashamed of it.
That is the mindset. That is the mindset of the Nigerian ruling elite. Once they get settled, they forget. 100 million we pay the salary of a professor for 20 years.
I agree.
Which means that the man will need to save all his salary for 20 years to be able to buy form. So
I'll step down later on.
I'll step down later on. Look, what we need to do is to organize.
Yes.
At our level, we're organizing. At your own level, organize and educate Nigerians that, look, their future depends on those who run their affairs. We used to have NAFDAC. before Professor Dora Akunyili became Director General. She got there and revolutionized that agency and put it on global limelight. That is what leadership can do.
All right.
That is what leadership can do. Dubai 20 years ago was a wilderness. It took the vision of only one man. They have just launched a digital library with robots distributing books, both physical and digital. Leadership is key. Leadership is what gives direction to a society. Leadership is what can change the narrative in Nigeria. And that is why Nigerian people must wake up. We indulge our leaders too much.
Right.
We give them chieftaincy title. We give them their tips, their rogues, we know, but we honor them in churches and in mosque. We should change that attitude. The problem with Nigeria is that we don't hate our dictators. We only wish to be like them.
We also give them
unless you hate an establishment, you cannot destroy it. You cannot pull it down. So we need to change that mindset, to change that narrative, and that's why they don't want Nigerians to be educated. It's difficult to misrule an educated and informed populace. So de-educating Nigeria is also a strategy for oppression.
Yes.
And Nigerians must understand that. Nigerians must understand that. One of the reasons why they don't want them to have tertiary education is that they will be malleable, they will be manipulatable. Informed minds are impenetrable. So all of us, the academia, the intellectuals outside the university system, in journalism, in the legal profession, in artisans, all of us, we must begin to build networks to chase away this insensitive and reckless, parasitic ruling elite. Because if we begin to make excuses for them, then why are we spending our money on them? They have toothache. They cannot set up a good hospital. They are not even patriotic. Somebody who has toothache will fly from Nigeria to England. If they were not taking care of their own medical services there, where will the person go to? When Nelson Mandela was ill, they wanted to fly him out of the country. He said no. He would rather die in South Africa, in Johannesburg, than be flown out of his own country. Is that what we see in Nigeria? So the issues are clear. We need a group of people who understands what governance and leadership is. The sectors that are working within the Nigerian society are those that are led by patriotic, self-made Nigerians. And they are there making wonders, not only within, but also outside Nigeria. So please, we cannot make any mistake about it. And there are no middle course. We must work very seriously to dislodge this ruling elite if we want to secure the future of the next generation. And let me tell you, like I said, finally, the only other option that we have is to stop holding government accountable. And then 80% of our students will not have a university to come back to. I don't think that's an option that we should contemplate as Nigerians who mean well for the country called Nigeria. Thank you for this opportunity. And we hope to be with you any other time you deem it fit to talk about Nigerian issues, especially the Nigerian university system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You've actually thrown so much light, in fact, floodlight on the issues, and I think people understand now that the condition of service needs to be improved, the autonomy of universities need to be addressed, and then the funding for the revitalization of the universities need to be done for this strike to be over. So I just hope that the hopes of Asuu comes to light, but it all boils down to leadership from what we have all said today. And the common factor, the common agreement is it boils down to leadership. If there's good leadership in good governance in charge of affairs of the country, things, even if everything, Rome cannot be built in a day, but it starts with one step at a time rather than being stagnant or going backwards. So thank you very much. It was nice having you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you spent your own finances on trying to air your voice and to tell us because nobody's being paid here for anything to say this, but you spent your hard-earned money to make sure you're connected and say this to us. I really appreciate your time and your everything you've put into this to make sure it's educate the public. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much to Mr. Amechi Chinedum. He says, my comrade Asuu, the demands and the future of the country. Okay, so we know where to go when we're thinking for ideas on how to move the country forward educationally. I'm not campaigning, he's a political scientist, so but these are people who have ideas of what they think should be, how it should be. And thank you very much. So thank you, Dr. Florence Jimo. Thank you, Dr. Kemi Oni. Thank you, Dr. Adebayo Oni. And for those who are listening and watching, thank you very much for being here. Without you being here, we'll just be talking to ourselves alone. Thank you for supporting. Please feel free to like, to share, to comment, to subscribe, and to send the video around. Let people know why Asuu is sticking to their guns regarding this, regarding the strike. And also to help students who are thinking these Asuu people are wicked. They are destroying our future. To tell them why it actually is the necessary thing to do now, according to Dr. Ashiru's comments. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. So, to everyone out there, I say have a good evening, have a good afternoon, have a good morning if you're just waking up, and we'll hope to see you next time. Have a good week ahead. Bye-bye.